Two experts in ICF.
Yeah.
Decades of experience. One podcast.
Yeah.
Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, cause really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build with ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss, and she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build with ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. Been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt. Yeah.
I think that's where we're going to go today. We're going to go in the dirt. I was listening to our intro. We're just.
That said, I could give a lot of information about. I'm going to give a lot of information.
Yeah. I think today's going to be one of those episodes where we're asked to do this a lot, and I think we've only done like one so far, one of our rant episodes.
Yeah. Well, I try to stay pretty neutral and mild-mannered. That's not necessarily me. If anyone out there that knows me is kind of laughing when I say that because it's not me, but
this is going to stay neutral, but it's going to be ICF focused because that's the big thing right now. Like, so many people are interested in building with ICF. We're getting so many calls at the drafting company right now, but they're facing opposition from general contractors, from other
drafting companies, from their engineers, from their
from every front. They're facing a little bit of opposition, and I think it's lack of education. Really, is what it comes down to. But like, there's so much that goes into it. So we just want to talk about it today.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're going rant style today because I'm going to keep the profanity out of it, which is not normally me, if you know me off air, but it's going to test my limits because it's just frustrating. Again, over 20 years of doing this, and it's amazing to me. I've seen the leaps and bounds that we've taken as an industry, and one of the things that we continue to run into is just the negativity of other people trying to make decisions for the people who are wanting to use the product. So basically kind of where this comes from. I mean, this comes from years of dealing with this, but just recently it feels like we've got an influx through. I mean, one, because things are going very well at the drafting company. Yeah. We're getting a lot of leads from all over North America. We've done our first plans in Canada. We've done our plans, we've got stuff going all over the country from coast to coast, and it's just awesome. And so kudos to you and growing the drafting company. And it's been really, really good for us, and it's opened us up to people all over the really cool ICF driven people all over North America. And one of the things that I get brought in kind of more as consulting side of it. I don't do the drawing and stuff like that, but I get on the calls and I meet with the with the clients usually if I can. Hopefully I try to be on those calls with you guys.
Yes.
Get some face to face, and so kind of where my role comes in is the ICF guy, the ICF expert thing. And the one thing that just keeps getting brought to my attention is the uphill battle that people have of making the decision to build with ICF and getting opposition from people who are not going to live or pay for that house. And I'll jump right to the punchline in this episode and say, ask that person. Are they going to pay for the payment? Are they helping buy the house? Are they going to help rebuild the house? I mean,
are they paying the utilities? Are they paying the insurance?
Are they investing in your house? Because if they're not, tell them to shut the up, right? Like, I mean, this is not their house, and I get it that they are a big part of the house, or they could be. They could not be. I prefer they not be, to be honest, because I mean, I look at it and I go, you're building a team. And I'm sorry, there's going to be some people listening to this who are on the other side of this, that are builders and people that are subs. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a pro ICF guy, and so you're not dragging down our process or our industry or our advancement we're trying to do to build people better houses. So hopefully, I'm not offending anybody in here. If I am, I don't care. It is look them in the eye and ask them how much they're investing in your home, because you are building a team in any house. And I'll step out and even say, even if you're building your house out of firewood, you still have to build a very good team to get that done. It's a lot of work. And you can't, it's not going to be without a headache. It's not going to be without confrontation. It's not, you can love, we built a house for my parents a long time ago, and I about fired my mom 2 or 3 times, and she about fired me 2 or 3 times because we couldn't get along it's a lot of stress going through it.
There's a lot of details, and they say the devil's in the details, and 100%. It's so true. It's so true. So you're going to run into issues.
I'm not saying you're going to build a team that's going to be perfect, but you got to build for a team that can deal with this stuff. And the first thing out the gate, if you're starting with people that are like, you want ICF? Yeah, that's not a good idea.
That's going to cost more money.
That's going to cost, first thing, that's going to cost more money. No, it doesn't. Oh, that's going to be too hard. Oh, my sub's going to charge me 3 times more. Then get a different sub, because that's not right. So there's a lot of things. We're going to go over a few things. It's kind of going to be reruns for some of the people that have listened to some of the stuff we've said, but I just want to bundle this into one episode of, this is your decision to build your house out of the best product that's out there to build. And that's not my opinion. You go show me something that's better. You get somebody on here, and I've told this story before. I've had one person ever stand up to me face to face and say, oh, I have something that makes, building a house out of firewood better. Your houses aren't very easy to tear down. Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's the point, dude. If you're out there promoting that I build houses out of firewood, they're easy to tear down, you probably aren't getting a lot of business. So it's just a matter of going back to the very start here. So you have to start with one, and I'll put ownership on the actual owners too. So let me not just candy coat this for you as well. If you're listening to this and you're the homeowner, you have to want it. You have to want this and understand that ICF is the best way to build. There is going to be some differences. Anytime we do something different, anything in our life, it's a little uncomfortable. I could tell any of you on here right now to drive home from work a different way today, or take your kids to school down a different road, and you would feel inconvenienced by that because you are used to doing things your way. That's just the way the world works. Everybody has their way. I brush my teeth with cold water. Heather brushes her teeth with warm water. If you ask me to brush my teeth with hot water, I think it's weird and I don't like it. If I make you do cold water, you don't like it. So if you can only imagine, if I make you change how you do your job or how you build a house, how much inconvenience that feels like it can be. So first and foremost, homeowner, you have to want this. If you don't want it, and I deal with people all the time when I'm consulting on stuff, if they're fighting me, and this can be the homeowner, if they're like, well, I'll back out of it. I don't need to work with somebody who is, I'll bring you over for a little bit, but I'm not going to completely turn water to wine to try to get you to figure out that this is the way to go. If you're not like loving it, which I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you pretty much love it. So I'm preaching to the choir here, but first and foremost, homeowner, you got to be ready for this, and you got to know that you love it and you want this to happen.
And you have to educate yourself.
Agreed. Because you can listen to the podcast. You can even hire me as a consultant. You're still going to need to be the expert, because you're the only person that's 100% involved in every aspect of this build job.
Yep. And then, it's building that team around that core belief of you want to build ICF, and there's a reason you want to build ICF. I guess I didn't think about it when we first started from a contractor perspective, because I never had to convince anybody to build with ICF. I never had to convince when we build some specs on why ICF was better.
No, I think most people get it, but it's amazing how many we're running into. So where does that start? When you're building your team, we talk about partners, right? I love the word partners. I don't have customers, I have partners.
Yes.
If you're not going to be a partner with me in my business, and I'm not going to be a partner with you in your project, I'm not interested, right? I don't want a customer-supplier relationship. I want a partner in the business, and that's what I want. Whether I'm the customer or I'm the supplier, I want to be on the partner side of this. So starting their partnership, who's the first person they start with?
Other than themselves, it's going to be the draftsman or the architect. It's going to be the person helping them to create those plans. It is why I created Innovative Drafting and Design back in 2018, 2019, because I decided to make that switch 100% to build with ICF after doing my parade house and winning an award at World of Concrete. And I struggled my way through plans with my existing draftsman.
They were not a partner.
They were not a partner. They did not have any interest in being a partner. They were so busy working with the other builders in my area drawing stick plans that they did not want to learn something else. So hence, innovative drafting and design was born. And I started out plans only for myself, only for ICF people, builders that were already building with ICF. It has since grown, obviously, to where, we're working with clients all over the US and in Canada. So
we're working with clients to prove the point. We're working with clients who have draftsmen who said they will not do it.
Yes.
So then they are paying us on top of their draftsmen. They're going to pay us to do the conversion for them because their draftspeople or architect are so hard-headed that they aren't even going to make an attempt to learn it or get the information or get the CAD files or do the things that we try to do to help them. They just said, I mean, great. Then, but you, the homeowner, you're paying, for that to do that.
Yeah.
But
There's no reason to do that. I understand if, you start doing your plans and you have every intention of building with stick when you first start creating your plans. I understand that. It's a process. And then you decide, you find ICF and you decide you want to build with it. Then it's, okay, it's going back to the person that drew your plans originally because they're always the best person to go back to first.
100%.
See if they are willing to do the conversion for you and look and understand the blocks, understand what they're drawing. If they are not, or they're not comfortable with it, we have had, and I will hats off, we have had several architects reach out to us when their clients want to switch to ICF. And the architects say, look, my client wants to do this. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the time to learn this. Can we hire you guys to do this?
We saw coming back from Palisades, that
Yes.
was something that was very, very popular, I guess you say popular. Happened to me a lot in the booth down in Palisades is a lot of architects coming up and saying, hey, dude, I don't understand this. You guys are experts. Could we just subcontract you guys to work with us and then we'll just take your advice as a consultant. So yes, that is
been doing that.
Very much kudos to those architects. Kudos to those guys for wanting to learn, and the engineers as well, saying, hey, can we just get you some, can we subcontract you in to do this? And we love doing that. And then the other thing is we've got, whether that be you fully doing conversion type stuff as to drafter to, to draftsman kind of deal, or if we're talking about even just, I've done consultation calls where they'll hire me for 20, 30 minutes and I will go on and just talk to your draftsman or your engineer because they have some specific questions. I am not an engineer nor a draftsman, but if I can answer a lot of real world construction questions, and sometimes that's all they need to know. Like, hey, is this right? Can I do this?
Well, they need to understand.
I just had a huge talk with an engineer about that we were discussing and breaking down rebar schedule because they just kind of slapped a rebar schedule in there because they didn't know. They just don't know what it is. That's what I'm putting in there. And I went down and broke down for him, like, okay, you understand we got to flow concrete through this wall. You understand that 24 years, I've never seen this much rebar in a wall. Like this is ridiculous. And we can backtrack on that. So we do offer those services. That's something I can help with. You can help with things like that. But you really have to understand that if, again, you're building a team, and that is literally your first player you're going to draft outside of yourself. That is your quarterback.
Yes.
And they are going to make this plan in a way that could make or break the plan for the general contractor, the subcontractors, things like that. So you have to be able to think like that and be able to say, okay, I'm going to give them the correct details to show how the floor is going to attach, the correct details of how the roof is going to attach. I need to show these things as
the wall heights, everything.
I need this to be as accurate as possible so that there's nobody going, because trust me, I've been on the job sites and they have a plan that's off a little bit. And the first thing they do is they throw their hands in the air and go, see, this is why ICF says it doesn't match up, blah, 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 which trust me, growing up in this business, stick frame plans don't match up either. So don't give me that crap because I've had to figure things out on plans every time. So, I mean, there's rarely a perfect plan. We don't claim to give perfect plans. We try to get as close as we can, but so do stick frame people.
But that's also, that's why we want to be a partner in their project, because we want to see this house get built. We want to see pictures of it. We want to see the home.
And you got to find that you need that engineer, that architect, that draftsman. You need that person. So there's step one. Get that person on your team. Yep.
And then one of the first things we're going to ask you, or any drafting company or architect, when you are looking at building with ICF, the next question that they should be asking you is which block.
100%. And I know what people are thinking. They thought you were going to say a general contractor. Who's your contractor? No, it's literally the most important thing when you're doing an ICF build is to get your partnership and your team built with the correct block manufacturer. And I know all of you out there that are block manufacturers and listening to this podcast are yelling the brand of that you sell into your car or your radio or whatever today. It's different in different places.
Yes.
I mean, I have my favorites. I have the ones I've used and I like the most. I have the ones I've used and I like the least. I have some that I don't like, that I don't use. There is specific things that are going to change what you're doing. It's going to be geography. It's going to be, where are they located? Do they have a supplier near you? Biggest thing is, do they support you? Is there a local support? Do they have a guy that if something does hit the fan locally, he can be out to that job site that day, next day, something like that, to where he can come out and help you and show you what's up, right? It's funny. I've just dealt with a situation where a guy shopped the entire country for his block, and he shipped it from one end of the block country to the other, which, as somebody who understands the numbers, I don't know
how that
worked because whatever. I know how much. I mean, there's just
freight is
putting
freight.
it out. I'm just putting it out there. There's not a ton money of margin in the block. It's commodity type margins. The money for all of us distributors, a lot of the money is in the alignment system, the accessories, the stacking, different things like that. A lot of that is. So the fact that somebody shipped an entire load across the country, well, then he was short a couple blocks. Now what do? He's not going to ship. And the guy just said, I won't ship you anymore cross country for that. It was one and done. That's why the price was so low. So you're scrambling around and driving 8 hours to go to another distributor to try to find somebody. Anyways, it was kind of a mess. And in that situation, that guy didn't have somebody right in his town for that block, but he probably could have found somebody in a different brand of block that's in that town, right? So that's what I suggest to everybody. Try to really nail down. So you get your draftsman, you get your plans, because any of the block manufacturers, myself, any suppliers, distributors, anybody, we're going to want to see the plans so that we can get you a quote on the block. And if you want an accurate quote, and this is for anything, but especially starting with the block, is you're going to need to see kind of what that is. I'm going to back up because I know where I kind of crossed over on that, because you would like to see, you're nodding your head because you would like to know the block before you draw.
Yes, and we have several clients that don't, and they're teetering between a few.
Right. And you guys can get there.
Yes, we can.
To give us some numbers and some sizes. Correct. Without the block. I mean, we want it as early as possible, but we also, speaking, you and I sitting on different sides of the table right now, I've got my supplier hat on and block guy hat on, and you've got your draftsman hat on. I want to know the sizes and stuff so I can give you a quote. You want to get a quote so that you can decide which one to do the plan. I don't like when people call me up and say, oh yeah, I got a 3,200 square foot house. Cool. How many left corners? How many right corners? How tall is it? Is there any steps, footings, blah, 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 right? I can give you some of that. You can do some research prior to having a plan. I mean, you can call me and just find out, where am I located? Do I have inventory on the ground? Do I have alignment system? Go check out my socials. I always tell people, go check out your socials. If you're listening and you're a supplier, keep your socials up to date, because that's the first thing I tell people. If you're a
stacking company, make sure that you're,
If I look and it looks like you haven't done anything in 2 years, or you don't even have social media, I have a hard time believing that you're actually out doing work and doing things sometimes. It's just it's the only way for anyone that's not physically there to monitor what you've been doing, right?
It's and our younger listeners won't know this, but it's the yellow pages now. Social media has taken that.
In the old days, we used to have a book of phone numbers and ads. Anyway, Google it. You will find that, that you could do a lot of research prior to getting your plans drawn to find out just who, or just find out like who's been doing stuff in the area and reach out to those people. Or if you know people that have posted about it, and say, hey, who did you use? Did you like them? Was it a good experience?
Yeah, we're not. So, and I will say this, that as a drafting company, we don't necessarily just say, okay, this is the block brand. If you don't know what you're going to use, this is what I'm going to draw it in. We will draw a generic set of plans with ICF. And then we will kind of hit the pause button when we get a floor plan that they like, that they're ready to move forward with. We'll hit the pause button before we start going vertical with it, with the plans, and say, okay, let's go get prices. Let's go check this out. Let's see who's in your area. Let's see who's going to be the best partner for you on this build. Who's going to provide the support? Who has inventory on the ground? Who has alignment system for you to rent? Who can be out there to consult? On-site consulting.
This is another thing I always forget to promote, but in this same realm of doing research, I highly suggest everybody, if you're interested in this and you're wanting to do an ICF project, go get a membership or a subscription to the ICF Builder magazine. ICF Builder magazine puts out an edition every year that has a big 2-page layout that gives you a awesome spreadsheet that shows where people manufacture, what they do, what their web spacing is, what their block heights are. They put out an amazing if you just got that membership to get the one.
Yeah, that one's coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, one edition, but go out, look up icfbuildermag.com and get yourself a subscription to ICF Builder magazine. They have a lot of really, really good information, some really good looking columnists that write columns for them, like very attractive, smart, intelligent guys with beards.
Yeah.
Anyways, we do a Build with ICF corner in there that we write, and you guys do some drafting design articles. So a lot of good articles, but I mean, if nothing else, it gives you an idea too. You get to see the ads everyone's running every month. Everybody, all the manufacturers are pretty good about putting out their newest, latest, and greatest stuff in there. There's actually a section that talks about kind of new innovation stuff. Great magazine. We're not sponsored yet. Craig, if you want to sponsor, you can. We're happy to take money, but it's an amazing way to take a look at this stuff. And so like social media, do your research. This is going to be a longer episode than I thought. I thought we were going to be done in 20 minutes. We're 20 minutes in. I'm not done, but we go do the research, check that out. Reach out to me. Like, I mean, I get a lot of DMs and a lot of phone calls and different things from people saying, hey, I'm in Michigan. Do you have any suggestions? Sometimes I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm happy to take a few minutes and send some contacts out to the people I do know.
We have contacts all over the world. So
like I said, I just have been doing this a long time. I'm old and I have a lot of friends in this business. Yes. And so like, that's kind of my thing is networking and who I know.
Networking is your superpower. Like they talk about 6 degrees of separation. Most times with Trevor, it's 2. It literally.
That's me and Kevin Bacon, yeah. But I don't know Kevin Bacon, but be interesting to see how many degrees, so probably 1 or 2. So I just like that. I have 1 degree from Kid Rock. That's all I care.
Yeah, there you go.
So close. So close.
All right, back on the subject here. So, so drafting, picking a block company, subscribe to the ICF Builder magazine so you can do your research. I would say even one of the things that I do, all my drafters take the ICF stacking courses for the block manufacturers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want them to understand everything about the building process, because then we can back into it from a design process.
Yeah, most of the manufacturers have an online training available of some kind, and ask if they really want to be on the team, if they really want to do this, ask if they'll do that. That's definitely kind of extra credit, I think.
I think so.
You're asking them, unless they're going to bill, unless those are billable hours, you guys do it because this is your niche and your specialty, and that's why people go with innovative draft and design, is because you guys do take all the courses that you can take. Like every time a new one pops up, you guys jump on and take it.
We do.
Some don't want to do that, but if they will, that would be great. It's a great suggestion.
It's a great suggestion. Well, and even if their drafter doesn't, if they do, as the homeowner, as a general contractor, as a subcontractor, just to understand the process. Anybody should be taking it.
Would be great.
And go. This is another thing with a local distributor or checking who your local distributors are. You can go and check out a job site.
Right. Yeah, we do that a lot. We get almost every job site we have is going to have multiple potential customers that are going to come and hang out. Some of them pick up block and start stacking. Some of them just watch. Some of their contractors, some of their whoever, framer, sheetrock guy, whatever. So that is a really good comment. But so moving to the next teammate, the next person you need to draft for your team is going to be the general contractor. You need to make that decision of who you're going to work with at that point.
Because I think the engineer goes along with your drafting or architect, because we're going to have those contacts.
Yeah, I guess that would include that engineer or architect at the same time. So, and because the problem is here's what you don't want to do. It does work from time to time, but you want bringing in 2 separate people. Like, okay, I want to work with this architect and I want to work with this engineer. That sometimes works, most of the time doesn't. If they've worked together, that's great, but you're always better to start with the draftsman, drafting company, architect, and then ask, okay, who do you guys prefer? Mm-hmm. Because we know who is pro ICF. We know who we've worked with. Like we sometimes have to rotate those, sometimes dependent upon where you're located. Sometimes about, is this a 2-story or a single story? If it gets too complicated, okay, we need to work with ABC, not XYZ.
Yep.
So the person that does this for a living every day and is drawing plans and works with engineers every day is probably your best bet for the reference of who you should use as your engineer, unless you've got a brother-in-law that is, a sister-in-law that's an engineer that's giving you half price, and we can work with them and they're excited to work with them. Again, being excited, not being cancer to the project. If they're willing and are excited about it, then we can bring them in. But for the most part, that's all one bundle.
Yep.
So that's why I jump ahead to the general contractor.
Yes,
so
yeah.
now you got to find a contractor that's excited about this. You go in there and you sit down with them, you're talking with them and you say, first and foremost, the method of construction that we're going to use is insulated concrete form. Don't go in there and say, we're thinking about, that's your biggest mistake. I hear it all the time. We'd really like to, I'm thinking about, or no, it's your house.
Yes.
You're paying for it. You're living in it. If that house burns to the ground, that contractor is not going to rebuild your house for free. She has no say in what you do with that project. So when you sit down with that contractor, your first thing to say is, we are doing this house as an insulated concrete form house. Are you familiar with it? Or what's your thoughts on that? I pretty much use a 3-strike rule in everything I do. I don't just throw someone out the door on the first strike. It's 3 strikes. But if they come and they go, okay, that's a strike. Like if you get the sigh and the shake of the head or something like that, strike 1. If they say, I don't really know that. I don't think I want to do that. Or have you, why wouldn't you just do, build your house out of firewood? Why wouldn't you do that? Like if they start giving you grief, strike 2, by the 3rd strike, if they're just like, I don't think my subs would do it. Every time they're giving you another excuse of why you shouldn't do that, then that's their key to hit the door. And I don't care how much you love them, how great they are, how many houses they've designed that you think are great. The fact of the matter is if they're not on board as an ICF builder and want to be an ICF builder, then bounce, and kick rocks.
At this point, when you're going to them, you could have a preliminary set of plans to be able to sit down and show them, to be able to get some
Right.
ideas, some numbers, and you're showing them the vision, and you're wanting a partner that's going to buy into that vision as well of what you are building and why. And I will say we run into a lot of general contractors that they have not built with ICF. They are a little skeptical, but open-minded to look at something and say, okay, so how exactly does this work? And we do we do a lot of consulting. We do a lot of phone calls with general contractors for our clients in the drafting company to chat with them and talk to them about, look, it's another subcontractor. So instead of hiring a framer to frame the exterior walls, the interior walls, and throw the roof on, you're going to have a subcontractor that does the ICF part of it. And then you're going to have your framer that comes in, and your framer's going to just do the interior walls and that roof system. And it's really cool, One of the things that we're able to show is we're able to take away the exterior walls on our project, all the concrete walls, and show this is what your framer is going to be coming in and doing.
It's hilarious
It
because
is.
it's like I'm sitting here smiling because it's so funny when they say, it's pretty much the same. I mean, our bid's going to be the same. And then you go, okay, I just want to show you a visual of the house you're going to be framing. And you show it without the ICF walls, and it looks comical because there's like half of the
It's
framing.
less than half.
And you're looking at going, okay, so you're telling me this is the plan. This is how much work you're going to do on this plan. And you're telling me the price is the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's a scam. And sometimes I'm, like I said, I'm feisty today. So
You are. This is a rant.
I am, and I'm trying to be cool and not like go off. But that is the kind of crap that drives me crazy because these guys are like, nah, it's the same price. Okay, here it is. And now if they look at that and they genuinely go, oh, well, okay, I feel stupid. Yeah, I didn't realize it was that much.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, let me relook at this and requote this. Let me take this plan and requote this for you. Then great. They're still on the team.
Yep.
You're not cutting them yet.
Yeah.
But if they're at that point where they look at that and they're still like, yeah, no, that's not, and they feel it's amazing to me how many subs and generals they go from not knowing that sometimes within a paragraph they will go from not knowing anything about ICF, I don't know anything about this, to all of a sudden they know everything about it. And they're like, oh, this is going to be this way. And oh, I didn't know you knew anything about it. But now you're an expert and you know exactly how much your electrician's going to charge. Mm-hmm. Give me a break. Because like, I mean, and we're sitting there like, I laugh because and there's a listener who's listening. I know he's listening, and he has done everything to try to put me and the contractor together to be a consultant with them. I've reached out 3 times to this general contractor offering my services free. Just give me a call. Love to chat with you. Let's talk about this. Make sure that there's any questions. He's ghosting me. He doesn't have anything to do with me. So I'm doing this free of charge. I do this podcast free of charge. I do some of this, I'm like, I talk to your builder free of charge, like all this stuff. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm not even, this is out of my area. I'm not even going to sell to this person.
Yeah.
I'm making $0 in any way, shape, or form on this project, and I'm just trying to help him. And the builder won't even give me the courtesy to even answer my emails or my phone calls. So there's things like that where that's a giant red flag. Yeah. Get rid of him. He's not going to make your job good. He's going to make it a pain in the ass. Or go build your house out of firewood. Good luck. Have fun paying those bills, and I hope a fire doesn't hit you, because that's he apparently is going to make that decision for you. So good luck. Have a good time. But that's the kind of stuff that frustrates me and gets me fired up, because these guys, they go from being completely ignorant about it to all of a sudden they're a master of it, and they can tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to back this back and kind of try to get us back on track to a more positive rant. But this is why we talk about that distributor, that partnership. Because distributors, I'm going to tell you, one of the best things you could do in your business is to find ICF educated, ICF friendly contractors, plumbers, electricians, framers, the stacking crews, everyone. If you have that list of people in your area, when somebody calls you and says, hey, I'm having a hard time with this person doesn't understand it and they're trying to charge me 3 times for the electrical on my house, you can say, okay, give me their number. You could reach out to them. You could talk to them about it. You could also say, well, here's one that we've used on several projects, or here's a list of ICF contractors, suppliers, or not suppliers, but subcontractors in your area. Mm-hmm. Here's a list you can start.
And we are doing, I mean, just that elephant in the room is everyone's like, cool, there should be a list somewhere. We're working on that. I would love that to happen. I mean, everybody from the ICFMA to the ICF Builder magazine has done their best at putting together some lists. And I'm actively trying to make that happen more accurately. And we try to keep our own list here, just through the podcast. But realistically, a phone call, backing up to making that decision with your block supplier should have a stable of people that they've already sold to, or they wouldn't be a block distributor, right?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, you have to sell block to people. So if there's people that have block, then chances are those guys know the builders in the area that will do that. So obviously try to work. Okay, I'm going to be more positive here. Going into your contractor, you have to be educated, just like we said, as the first, main team captain, is you need to be able to educate that guy on why you want to do it. And you need to let him understand. And you need to say things like, hey, I understand this is a little out of your comfort zone and this is something new. And if that, if that's a problem, then, I want to offer some help. I've got my supplier that is willing to meet with you. I've got, my draftsman that's willing to meet with you. Like, we want to make this easy for you. I mean, I'm not going to say you got to go out there and get in their face and be like, hey, you do this or I'm firing you. Like, it doesn't have to be that way. That's kind of my tone today, but it doesn't have to be that way. But give them the opportunity to learn. See if they want to learn, because there's so many opportunities for us to teach them. I'm happy to sit down and teach them. Answer my phone call, answer my email. If you want to know some stuff, I'm giving free information away. We do a podcast with free information, like whatever we can do to help you just kind of get involved in it. So talk to the builder and just let them see your vision, because if you're just coming in there saying, I'm just trying to make you do something different because I want it this way, they probably don't want to work with you either, because here's my, put my builder hat on. As a builder, we are a partner with every single person we do business with, just like they're a partner with you. You're a partner with them. As a builder, we sit down with people, and if they sound like they're going to be a pain, we have a 3-strike rule with our clients when we meet with them for build jobs. I have a 3-strike rule when I meet with somebody that's wanting us to stack block, right? Waterproofing, you name it. Anything that we're doing, if I get somebody who just doesn't feel like they're going to work well with me either, and even though they're paying the bill, we walk away from it. I've just, again, old guy wisdom. I've learned that doesn't work. So I don't force any issues at all. So builders, if you feel like that person's being too aggressive and they're just like pushing you to do something you want to do, then don't do it. There's plenty of work out there in the world today for everybody to go do what they want to do. If you want to build houses that burn down and fall down, get eaten by animals, fine, whatever you want to do. I don't really, that's you, go do you. But you can, I think it is on the person, the homeowner, the team captain, whoever this is, to present it correctly, present it well, and say, this is an opportunity for you to learn a new skill that may really help your business. This could be something in the future. We're the fastest growing construction method in the world.
Yes.
Period. So if they want to get on board and get ahead of the curve a little bit and learn how to do that, we are dealing with general contractors in California who are 20 years behind some of the other contractors. We had Penna Construction on here. Those guys have been doing it for 3 generations. Okay. There are builders who are now just going, oh my God, those guys actually, they figured it out. Penna is signing contracts left and right for people wanting to build fireproof houses, right? So now you got these other people coming in going, and Penna will admit they don't, they can't do they don't have the bandwidth to rebuild 7,000 houses in California. And so they would welcome some people to come on board and try to help them with that. So, offering an opportunity to your builder to learn a new skill and build something new is an opportunity for them, not a grind or something that they should see as a negative.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just a way, the whole reason that I got into it is I was tired of being known as the girl builder. It was, all these guys that own these construction companies, and I was known as the girl builder. And I was like, I want to build a better home. I want to do something different so I stand out. Building with ICF, I believe that's a far better home than building with firewood.
It's not that you believe it is.
It is. I know, but I do believe it. That's why,
right.
Hence that's why I got the Build with ICF webpage. That's why we have the podcast. We believe it. We are 100% in. And, it's been a great thing for us. So.
Yeah, I believe in gravity. It's not about believing. It's real.
Okay.
So next step. Okay. So we got past contractors. Contractors, I love you. I was not bagging on you guys. It just seems to be kind of where we're running into the biggest bump lately. So,
and it's probably not the contractors listening to this podcast, but
probably not, but I'm going to hope they do now. I hope that this gets forwarded to. I hope when you run into some issues, say, hey, maybe you should listen to this podcast because, and I'm saying this not to fire you guys up. I'm saying this because I am offering my services to help you if you want to learn about it, because I do think it's the future and I think I want to help your business. I'm a partner with you in this. So, we're a partner with every one of our listeners, and that's what we do. So love you contractors. We're contractors. All of our friends are contractors. We're all about it, guys. So don't take this as a bad thing. I'm helping you. So moving on from that, I would say then to help again the builders is getting those subcontractors that figure it out. And the one thing I'll say about ICF more so than just your everyday, 9 out of 10 houses that are built, firewood style, then that's going to be these contractor subs may have to be educated a little bit. Mm-hmm. So you, again, original captain of the team, you're going to have to maybe even have some meetings or have myself or your supplier have meetings with your electrician, with your framer, with your, plumbing. Everybody brings up plumbing. That's comical to me because plumbing is 99% of the time a good architect or draftsman does not design any plumbing in the exterior walls. And if it is, everybody goes, oh, my kitchen sink's on an exterior wall. Yeah, your kitchen sink plumbing goes right up through the floor. It has nothing to do with your wall. So the whole plumbing thing is not really a thing, even though it's probably the number 2 thing brought up to us. Mm-hmm. Everybody says electrician. Well, how do I do electrical and how do I do plumbing?
And then HVAC.
And HVAC, yeah, certain things. So you're gonna work with your subcontractors. Again, HVAC is probably one of the most important because that's going to be the biggest thing that changes that pricing from people saying it's 15% higher or it's 10% higher. It's probably not. It's probably your HVAC guy. Period. Mm-hmm. And again, love my HVAC guys. We love you guys. Everybody's great. Some of our best friends are HVAC guys. This is the problem though. They come in and depending upon the person, they sell you the same thing for a house that is an R15, then they will sell you for the same house that is equivalent to an R52. So when you're getting into that makes no sense. Okay, this house is an R50, let's say. This house is an R15. But why would you put the same size of unit in both of those houses? So that's the biggest problem. We can downsize all of our HVAC to get, or even just completely remove it and replace it with something smaller, like some mini splits or even some radiant systems or something like that.
And this comes back to the team captain, as you're calling the homeowner, and the co-captain, the general contractor, when they send out for those bids and they're looking at it. And most areas have to have some kind of calculation done by HVAC engineer or something, a manual J of sorts that lays out what everything has to be done, what size a unit can go in there and everything. And if you don't educate them on what the walls are, if you don't educate them on what the insulation factor is and what you're doing, they are going to spec out just like they do for a traditional firewood.
I guarantee you that same HVAC guy, if you told him you were going to go the other way and you were going to build with 2x4s, he would have no problem selling you a bigger unit.
Yeah.
He would upsize it, but he won't downsize it. So again, stereotyping, but that is something we deal with a lot.
Yep.
So you have to make sure you're communicating with your HVAC guy up front before all this starts and just say, hey, I need to know when I make a decision for my HVAC, I need to know if you're comfortable making sure that you downsize my HVAC system to what is accurate for what I need for my walls. No need to get somebody hired and then fire them and then have a big contentious issue with them. You start the conversation from the very beginning. Hey, we're interviewing HVAC companies. I need to know if you've done HVAC on ICF houses. Are you familiar with it? They're going to talk about fresh air returns. They're going to talk about some different things like that and a lot of ERVs and different things that people will run. If they're bringing that up, then yes, that sounds like a really good lead and they're probably a good one to work with. If you get guys in there like, no, I don't, that you could run into the same thing where they're like, we just put the same thing in, right? That is ridiculous. Again, that's like putting the same size gas tank in my F450 that you put into a Prius. It's not, it doesn't make sense, right? There's no reason to do that. So we just try to make sure that you're working with them. Electricians is probably the second most contentious one we run into.
I would say
and
electricians and HVAC are one, they're kind of tied, 1 and 2.
And so like sometimes you'll run into, oh yeah, we upcharge for that. That's comical because most electricians should understand ICF. Will tell you flat out, and we've done this a long time, and I understand this very well. And so, any electricians that want to argue this with me, I'm happy to have that discussion. You will do this job in half the time. You are cutting through foam with a chainsaw or a hot knife at a very fast pace, not putting nail plates up. You are not putting in conduit. You are not putting in any of these things. You are literally slapping it into the foam as fast as you can go. It will take you half the time. If it doesn't, you're doing something wrong. So again, not trying to be super aggressive, but that is the facts. And I've seen it over and over again. And if you try to tell me, there's no good argument. I've challenged people for years. Give me an argument that makes it harder to do it. Well, the boxes are the same as you use in a steel stud installation situation. You can use your plastic nail-in boxes if you want. You just got to tap con them through the back of the wall. There's face mount. They offer you can go into Lowe's or Home Depot and pick up a face mount box, which is all you need. Face flange, face mount, whatever you want to call it, style box. So don't tell me that your electrical supply house that you're buying your stuff from at a contractor discount doesn't offer it. They do, because they're doing construction with commercial construction, which is almost all steel stud insulate, frame, which is not a nail-in box. So a lot of this is just people with misinformation, or they're trying to, I don't want to accuse anybody of trying to make more money on a situation, but they may just not know.
Ignorance. They don't know.
Right. So I have done this multiple times where I've had people in parts of the country I've never even been to call me and say, yeah, my electrician says that's just, what you're saying is total crap. Okay. I make 3 phone calls to 3 electrical contractors, and I call them and say, hey, how you doing? My name's Trevor. I'm an ICF guy. I have a client who's building a house in that area, and we're just trying to find an electrician that has worked with ICF or, would like to work with ICF. They're looking for a new electrician. Are you interested? Yeah, no, I don't know anything about it. Okay, cool. Thanks. I call the next one. Oh, yeah, you know what? We've worked with it. That'd be pretty good. Okay, cool. Are you're willing to work with us? Yeah. So you'll give them a bid? Yes. Okay, let me be real clear with you. The last electrician tried to hose them on this, and I'm very well understand that this is not going to take you as many hours. Are you willing to give them a discount? Are you willing to work with them on this and be fair? Fair, Yeah, we still bill at the same price. Okay, I call somebody else. Are you willing to do this? Most of the time in 3 calls, you can find an electrician who's like, dude, I totally get it. I've worked with it before. It's super fast. We're good. We'll do it. We'll do it for less, right? So I don't like to be the discount guy. I don't like that word. I hate it. But at least if you get somebody that's going to be fair to you, and at least, I hate to even say at the same price, but at less, hopefully, and they bid it accurately by the hour, because if they're getting paid $30,000 to do this and they had it slated for 40 hours worth of work, and they do it in 20 and they got $30,000, they just made a ridiculous amount of money. So that's how they have to look at it.
In order to get a stick frame house done when you're building, like let's say you have 5 days for rough-ins, and your electrician is going to send over a crew of 5 guys to get that house done when it's built with firewood. When you're building with ICF, they can send over 2 guys.
Right.
And get that job done in the same amount of time as they did 5 guys on.
And just to give you a visual, and this is what I tell to all the electricians or people that ask me where I come up with this, and just to give you an idea, because I think everybody can kind of understand this. Let's say we have a 30-foot wall in a room, and you have, on one side, you have studs every 16 inches down that wall, and you've got to run Romex down that wall, and you're running wire through that wall, and you have to take a whole hog, and you have to punch a hole through every one of those studs for 30 feet. You got to drill through. So you're augering through each stud, 16-inch on center for 30 feet. Then you're running your wire through. Then you're putting your nail plates on. The other side, secure. Yeah. The other side, you've got another guy or myself over there, and I have an electric Milwaukee cordless chainsaw and a roll of Romex, and as fast as I can walk, I cut a line 30 inches long down through the 30 feet long down through the expanded polystyrene through the foam. And I push the wire in with my carpenter pencil behind my ear, and I'm done. Which way is faster? So that's the visual I'm trying to give you. So imagine that, as I'm telling you that, imagine how that looked and how that happened, and how the one guy's standing at the end of the 30 feet and how long, the other guy's 3 studs in doing the, having to do what he needs to do. So that's where your electrician needs to understand, look, you are going to be out of here a lot faster. Your man hours you can charge me the same on materials, but your man hours are going to be half or less of what you're doing. So anyway, that's my rant on electricians. Yes. I'd say the last thing probably, and we can wrap this thing up. God dang, we're going to do an hour. That's crazy. Our last thing we're going to do, it'd be building officials.
Yes. Right? Which those are actually one of the easiest parts.
Getting to be for sure, but
especially
still very important to communicate in advance with them.
Yes. And one of the things, and the thing is that we're communicating, your team should be communicating with them from the very beginning, from the drafting stage, because we're pulling up to see.
They are part of your team because they can stop the game.
Yes.
Period. With a red tag, they can stop the game.
Yeah. But from the very beginning, we're looking at what the design criteria is for that specific jurisdiction where you are getting ready to build.
Correct.
So you're looking at that from the very beginning. You're addressing that with your engineer from the very beginning. Your general contractor is addressing it. It's going through permitting. Like, we are making sure that part happens seamlessly. So we're seeing less pushback from building jurisdictions.
Yeah. We're just through the fact of there's so much going on. They've seen it. Like, I mean, I look back 20 years ago and the people were like, I have never seen this. I saw it on this old house. I didn't know that anyone was doing it here. I have to completely wrap my brain around this I am 99.9% of the time anymore. Guys walk on the job and like, oh, this stuff's cool. Yeah, my buddy lives in one of these, or, oh, we just did one of these down the street.
Or if they haven't seen it, they're like, oh, I read an article on this, or I saw this online.
Hey, I had
whatever.
A question about this. So the one thing some of the best advice I can give you is very early in this process, reach out to your jurisdiction where you're building, wherever your permit's going to be, ask for who my inspector's going to be, and then get their contact and reach out to him. Say, hey man, just wanted to touch base in advance so you're not surprised. We are doing an insulated concrete form project. Are you familiar with it?
Yeah, they need to understand, because when you call for, like, I've had this happen. It was so funny. We had to call for a stem wall inspection, and I'm like, well, my stem wall goes from my footing to my truss. So
our stem wall is 16 feet tall.
It's 16 feet tall. And he gets out there and he's like, what the heck is this? You built all I'm like, this is technically the stem wall. Like, we haven't hung the floor yet. You're
inspecting it as a stem wall.
And he's like, I've never inspected anything this big. I have to get up on that ladder. If you're going to look at the rebar in the wall to make sure that we've got it all in there, yeah, you're going to have to get up on that ladder. So communicate with them from the beginning, because you don't want to freak out when they get to the job site.
Right. That's the exact point I'm getting to. Like, you don't want them to show up and go, what the, you want it to be like, just say, hey, and they love this. Like, I've seen, again, almost 100%, this works every time, to where you go to the inspector and say, hey, because most people don't care enough to even give them a heads up about what they're doing.
Yeah.
Anytime you're using a new product, and we deal with this with MST rebar, with structural rebar, right? A lot of guys don't know structure, that, like MST is structural. It can go vertical. They have all the approvals. They have everything we need for engineering, but the inspectors don't know it. So you'd be surprised how an inspector shows up and he sees vertical fiberglass and goes, oh, you screwed up, because for 20 years or 10 years or whatever, 15 years, they've been seeing non-structural fiberglass that goes on the ground, right? It goes in flat work. And they're like, whoa, you can't use this way. You only use it flat work.
Yeah. And they may not have caught it on the documents. The inspector may not be the one that was reviewing the documents for the permit. Even though it's on there, the engineer's stamp, everything is there. It's a surprise to them.
He shows up and sees green fiberglass and he goes, whoa, that has to be steel to go vertical. And then you end up having to do an education seminar right there on the job site, and it's not fun. So we tell everybody, anytime we're using MST bar, we will go in there and we'll say, hey, just to let you know, we use MST bar in this. Here's all the specs you need, here's the paperwork you need. Here's where our engineer's approving it on the plan, so you're not surprised. And a lot of times, like I said, they just love the fact you're treating them like a human, because for the most part, a lot of people don't treat the inspectors very well. We're always kind of mad. No, here comes the inspector, blah, blah, blah. The more you can treat them like a part of the team and as a partner, and not treating them like they're the enemy and they're the police that are, trying to put a stop to your job. If you look at them as somebody that's positive and you go, hey man, do you want to be involved in this? And a lot of times I will do those calls as well. If you say, hey, I have a manufacturer rep that would love to have that conversation with you if you have any questions. Yeah, have him call me. And I'll call guys. I mean, I call the guy, different, that's out of my area again, and just said, hey, sounds like we're doing an ICF project in your area. They wanted me just to call and just see if you had any questions or anything. He's like, yeah, I kind of was wondering, how does that footing, how do you, when you're doing that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, this is it. And they're like, cool. And that inspection went perfect, because he walked up, he already knew, he had his questions answered. So it's just going to make your life a lot easier if you reach out in advance and let them know exactly what you're using in the project.
Well, and one of the things that I would recommend, and that I have done myself, is for the block manufacturer that I'm going to be using, I will send the inspector a link to that online training or that installation manual, just so they have it.
Yeah, no, you can't ever give them more information, too much information. Yeah. They, and I will say inspectors, depending upon, we're seeing a big turn where you're getting a lot of younger inspectors, but a lot of the inspectors are older, retired builder guys, and so sometimes a link to something or a YouTube video is not the best thing for them, because they don't barely use their phone. So, but the younger guys seem to be really into it. And like I said, if you need to get that printed off for somebody and just say, hey, do you want me to send you a manual? Would you like that? Reach out to your manufacturer. They will gladly send a box of manuals to that jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Everybody I know in the manufacturing world would be glad to send any jurisdiction that information. So let them, find out what they need, find out what's going to make it easy, and that, they can keep your project going smoothly. So I think that's about it.
Yeah. The moral of the story, the moral of your rant today is that
you this is your home. This is your castle. This is your family's heart. This is where you guys live. This is what you're going to pay to build. This is what you're going to pay to operate. This is what's going to keep you safe in a situation, when in weather, in a certain situation. It's not the builder. It's not the architects. It's not the subs. It's not the inspector. It's none of these people on this team that are paying for this. Now, don't get me wrong. If they are paying for it and you're getting them to all split the cost of your house, then they have to have a say in it. But I don't think that's happening. So point being, you have to have a belief from the very beginning that this is my project, my house. I'm not going to let somebody else steer this in a way that I don't want it to go. And I've seen it too many times. I mean, literally within the last month, I've seen people say, yeah, we wanted to do that, but we ended up just going, we're just going to stick frame it. Or even this, like I even consider this kind of a loss, if you will. I get a lot of people and they go, yeah, I go, why are they just doing a basement? Well, why aren't you doing the upstairs? Yeah, my builder just didn't want to do the upstairs too. I thought about doing, okay, so I still consider that loss because guess what? If a fire comes through, your basement's still going to be there and you're going to have to rebuild the whole house. And I hope your builder does it for free because he's the one that made the decision to not have a fireproof house. If a hurricane or a tornado comes through and wipes out your stick frame house, I hope that he's going to do that for free or that they're going to, your electrician's going to kick in to help rebuild the house because that's the seriousness of it. We're talking about
the sacrifice you're making.
The sacrifice that you are making to not fight for what you want to build your house out of. You are going to be willing to take a complete loss on that house and know that none of those people that helped make that decision for you are going to help you. So that's the point. And it's just frustrating to listen to people make a bad decision. And here's the deal. Like, let me clarify too. I'm not trying to say that 100% of everybody is going to build their house out of ICF. It's just not realistic. But the people who are thinking about it and who have at least done the research and are to that point where they're trying to do it should do 100% of those people should get to do what they want to do with their house. I've sit in meetings all the time with people and I say, yeah, you guys, especially big national builders. And they're like, so what do you do? And I say, okay, yeah, we just couldn't retool and do that differently. Okay. I'm not going to try to change everybody's mind. But if you are a person, one, they're listening to this podcast, then you obviously have a lot of desire to learn about ICF. If you're willing to sit down and you have made your mind up to build with your house, don't let somebody change your mind that should have no say in it.
Yeah.
So that's it. I love everybody that's listening. This isn't just not bagging on people. I'm just kind of fired up today, but it's like, we love our general contractors. We love our subcontractors. Everybody that you think of, I am happy to have that conversation with them. And I promise not to be mean.
Okay. And if you love this podcast, please share it.
Yeah.
Hit us up on our socials. Even Trevor has a reminder to check because he's been taking a break from socials, for a personal break, but still posting.
Trying to stay on business-wise, but yeah,
but I did.
Break. I got off of social media personally, just
but hit us
negativity in the world. So what am I doing? I'm spewing out anger on that. Yeah.
No, DM us, send us your questions, info at Build with ICF, all of our socials at Build with ICF.
So many people recently too. I just want to give a shout out. I mean, you guys know who you are. People have reached out to me recently and I've got to talk to on the phone or I've had emails with or DMs with that have thanked us for this podcast. It just means the world. I mean, it's literally why we do this is for you guys, and to get that acknowledgement means the world. That's the payment we get. And so thank you so much to you guys who I've spoken with recently. You guys know who you are. We've had conversations, and anytime people do that and take that a little minute of time to thank us for what we do, it's great. I really do feel that we're providing a service, I believe, to people, and we're just we're really just trying to preach what we believe, and this is something that we believe in and love, and we want to bring as many people on board as we can and get involved in this. So all you guys that reach out to us and get to talk to us about stuff, thank you. I welcome more of you, so don't hesitate to shoot us a DM. And again, sorry on the DM stuff because I've been not great on that because I haven't been on socials as much, not on my phone, so I have to actively go look at it. But email for sure, info at Build with ICF. I'm watching that all day long.
And thank you to all of our listeners. And again, if you love the podcast, please share. That's how we grow.
We will catch you on the next one. And I'm sorry, it probably won't be a rant on the next one, I would imagine.
I don't know, but if you want to hear another rant, let us know. Give us some other ideas.
If there's a rant you want me to rant about, let me know. Obviously, game to jump on that. Yeah. But no, give us ideas. Yeah, that is true, though. Give us ideas. We love hearing ideas. I've got a few just heavy hitter sluggers coming in for guests right now that are going to be really, really good. Kind of excited. Like I said, we're getting snow this weekend. Means we're going to be slowed down. We're going to be able to get some podcasts recorded. So we are going to get some more coming out, and we got some big boys coming on. So be ready for it. So thank you guys. We love all you guys, and we'll catch you next time.